My meditation vision for this collective was very simple. I only saw two things. One was the silhouette of a bird, like a large bird, flying towards the sun. So you see the silhouette, you know, from behind as the bird is taking flight. And then it's like it panned from the bird over to the left. And then I saw a pair of eyes that looked very similar to the, like an Egyptian statue or an Egyptian carving or painting, but it looked like the eyes of a pharaoh that was just staring very stoically. That's significant because I chose the Egyptian tarot deck. I've seen birds in a lot of my meditation visions for the tarot collectives, and it can represent shifting perspectives, it can represent freedom, soaring above, overcoming obstacles. It can also represent like a divine messenger. And the statue eyes, either you're being watched or someone is looking out for you, or you are being very observant. Also possibly mean being more stoic, more of a commanding presence. So let's see what the tarot has to say. And that fell onto the floor. So the first card that we have out is the King of Wands, or the King of Staves in reversal. The King of Wands in the upright is normally a steadfast, reliable leader that takes action, that has self-discipline, that is pure of heart and leads by example. In reversal, this King of Wands or this King of Staves is tyrannical, egotistical, probably is very controlling, leads by dominating and domineering, insecure, can make rash decisions, and leading from a destructive center, essentially values themselves over other people. So right off the bat, we have an unsavory person in our midst. Either you could be this King of Staves and you're not exactly in the right mental or emotional state, or this King of Staves, King of Wands, can be someone else that you may know, where they are just very domineering, they're very controlling, and they lead poorly. They lead their lives poorly. Let's get other information. And then we have the Three of Staves in the upright. Now this represents moving forward towards your goals and your dreams, and resiliency through moving forward. Notice how the three staves, see how it's kind of like stepping up? Well, this is indicating that you might have a particular vision of what you want your life to look like or where you want your life to go. This is asking you to begin taking the steps necessary to move forward. Now, if you are this reverse King of Wands and you find yourself being a very domineering, tyrannical, deceptive, controlling person, then this is asking you to take the steps to come out of that controlling demeanor and expand yourself, open yourself up. Now, if you are involved with someone, and that could be as a friendship, a colleague, a family member, or even a relationship partner, but if you are interacting with someone who is a very controlling, tyrannical person that might be very deceptive, then you need to start moving away from this person. You probably know this already. If you don't know this, then this is your sign. You need to begin stepping up from this situation. This could also mean that you have certain goals that you're trying to accomplish, and there could be someone that is holding you back, or someone that's trying to control in some type of way the goals you see for yourself, or how you're moving to achieve those goals. That's another interpretation. And then we have the 10 of Staves in the sideways. I just want to comment, all 3 cards are staff cards, are wands cards. These are the element of fire, and fire represents actionable steps, tangible, actionable steps within the real world. But the 10 of Wands in the upright represents burdens, carrying a lot of burdens that are yours, but also burdens that belong to other people. Like, you have volunteered to take burdens off of others, so that way you can carry them yourself. Or other people have just thrown their burdens onto you and said, here, you take care of it. And then you, being possibly a people pleaser, you don't argue, you just do. In the reversal, this represents dropping the burdens, understanding which burdens are actually your responsibility to handle versus which burdens are not your responsibility to handle. But in its sideways, you might be unsure about which burdens are yours and which ones are not. You might be in this transitional space of beginning to identify that certain people have placed burdens onto you, and you're beginning to identify that in order for you to actually move forward, you have to drop some. So you might be recognizing that you do have to let some things go in order to move forward. But one thing that is difficult is letting things go. It's really hard to do, especially when you're so used to holding on to things, when you're so used to carrying a lot on your shoulders. It can be hard to let it go. But again, this card, this 3 of Wands, encouraging you to move forward, to start taking those steps necessary, and you're recognizing that, which is good for you. But you're still in the process of letting go. Oh, there we go. That'll be the final card for this tarot. And then we have the 3 of Swords in the upright. This represents heartache, pain, backstabbing, betrayal, depression, sadness. I mean, look at this card. That's a lot of pain. That's a lot of hurt. And the bottom of the deck, we have the Moon card in the upright. And the Moon card represents illusions. It represents possible manipulation, things not adding up, and feeling uneasy, uncomfortable with the situation, just overall not being able to see things clearly. You may still have uncertainty or some lingering shadows, which would make sense with this 3 of Swords card. So this kind of tells me that there's still some emotional shadow work to be done. There's still some moving on that needs to be, I mean, that makes sense because you haven't quite let things go. So you're still working through some heartache, disappointments. You're trying to maneuver through that uncertainty and through those shadow realms of healing. And healing, it's hard. It's hard to do. It's hard to change who you are, to change your mindset, to change all of that for the better. But it's worth it. It really is. So if this reversed king is you, you are beginning to learn that you have placed a lot of burdens on other people, and you've caused a lot of heartache for others, and you've been kind of in this illusion that you were doing it all for the right reasons, you were doing it all for you, but you're probably coming across a wake-up call that maybe you weren't doing the right thing. Maybe like you aren't really a good person, and you do need to heal some things, because this very much is like hurt people because you're not secure within yourself. You have placed things onto others, things that don't belong to those other people, but you've just said, hey, I can't work through this and I can't handle this, so I'm going to blame you. I'm going to put it on you. I'm going to absolve myself of the accountability and the responsibility, and you're going to shoulder all that. Now, if this reverse king is not you, then you have realized that someone was putting things onto you. Again, this is, reverse the roles. Someone was placing a lot of burdens onto you that was causing you a lot of heartache and misery, and you were unsure if this person was a genuine person and if they meant well. Especially if you had a lot of people-pleasing tendencies, you would mistakenly take on burdens just to try and make the other person happy. Unbeknownst to you, that's manipulation and abuse, and it's causing it caused a lot of heartache. And we have the spirit of Isis. Beloved initiate, there are times to surrender and let go, but there are never times to give up. Persist with your bold faith and inspired action until the impossible happens. Isis has the spirit of triumph and will never fail in her quest, no matter how bold or impossible it seems. Let her inspire you. Believe. This is very much in alignment with these cards. Move forward, drop the burdens, never give up. The spirit of Isis is asking you to never give up. Don't let, if this is you, don't self-sabotage yourself. If this is another person, don't give up. Move forward. Regardless, don't give up. And you know that I think about it, in my vision, when I said that I saw eyes, a pair of like eyes, stoic Egyptian statue eyes just staring at you, look at the eyes of this card. Look how like just stern and stoic and just statue-like those eyes are. Very much like the eyes I saw in my vision, just like someone staring at you. Could be staring in a domineering way, could be just staring in a commanding way. Ooh. Next card that we have is the Pillar of Light. Pillar of light burning bright, earth star below, soul star above, burn away all that is not light, transform all into unconditional love. Star of Isis descend, your blessing and peace without end. Grace me now with peace and protection, completely embraced by divine protection. And it really does add to this Three of Swords, which is heartache, depression, misery, despair, sadness. Transform all into unconditional love. If this King of Wands, reverse King of Wands is you need to somehow transform your insecurities and your unhealthy habits into unconditional love, so that way you can become the true King of Wands in confidence and power, in true divine leadership with love. And then we have magic and ritual. Effect in the external world can be created through inner practice. Heart-centered ritual can support your inner path in the physical world. You are encouraged to enhance your power with regular practice as you grow in grace, love, ability, and wisdom, applying your inner beauty to transform your outer world. Again, it aligns with this card, the Pillar of Life, transforming into unconditional love, transforming from the inside to the outside. It aligns with this reversed king, this 10 of wands in the sideways, this 3 of swords in the upright, as well as the moon in the upright. There are things in your life, whether that be your belief, whether that be some habits and ideologies, mindsets that you have created as a form of defense mechanism due to trauma. And trauma could also be the burdens that you need to drop if, let's say, you have become something slightly twisted, slightly corrupt due to the trauma, because, you know, as I mentioned, hurt people hurt people hurt people. But if you are involved with someone, then sometimes either letting it go and walking away is enough to wake the person up. Sometimes you might need to have an actual serious conversation with someone. Sometimes conversations don't work at all. It's really the intent behind it, the actionable steps. Again, the 3 of wands, the actionable steps to transform. Transform your inner self, transform your habits, rising above. Because rising above is the only way that you can transform. And sometimes you need to rise above the trauma that happened to you. And sometimes you need to rise above the people that are bringing you down. Oh, and that fell into the floor. And then we have soul retrieval. Isis, healing goddess, now offers you spiritual restoration and deep soul healing through the art of soul retrieval, reclaiming pieces of you lost through trauma, old and new. Soon you will enjoy greater wellness, energy, and power, so be willing to go through the healing process, knowing that any emotional clearing taking place is leading you to wholeness. I was just talking about trauma. I was just saying how all these burdens, this reverse king could really be you. You really could be a domineering, controlling, tyrannical person that has anger issues and controlling issues. You really might need to adjust yourself and reclaim pieces of yourself that you lost through this trauma. I was having a conversation with someone one day, and I essentially told them that I have this belief. This belief is, if you experience a traumatic event, then you lose who you originally were prior to that traumatic event, because that event essentially changes who you are. You act differently, you speak differently, you think differently. Everything you do after that event changes you. And in some ways, you lose who you originally were. Your pureness, your wholeness, your peace, your integrity, your values, your morals. Sometimes you lose the pieces of that when other people hurt you. Now the bottom of the deck, Flower of Life. You are entering a fertile period of your life. You are guided to think of yourself as a creative being and to surrender your control over how things will manifest, and instead allow them to do so. Don't resist change. Instead, go with the flow and let it happen. Now is the time for your blossoming. And exactly what I was saying, you might have to let go of your control. This reading is all about healing. It is all about healing the self. It is all about reclaiming pieces of yourself, bringing back who you originally were. Healing from the pain, removing all of the illusions that keep you in certain spaces and places that do not serve you, do not grow you, and only hurt you. And above all, transforming into a pillar of light, guided by your heart, guided by unconditional love. It is through unconditional love that we create a world of beauty that is both inside and outside. I hope this reading resonated with you. And if you would like a personal private reading with me, you can go to my link tree in my bio. Until next time, bye.